Hey friends, welcome back to the podcast. We are in part 4 of a 6-part summer series where we are talking about the success mindset. My intention with creating this entire summer series was to drop the top 6 mindset obstacles that overachievers especially have, because I know how much you love to plan and think about the plan and have a strategy, but unless you understand the mindset that is getting in your way, it's really hard to see momentum and actually have consistent results that last the test of your life. My favorite thing about the 6-part summer series is we're talking about mindset concepts that transcend weight loss and your body goal. And for me, that is really the mission that I'm on. I'm here to help you achieve your next health and weight loss goal, but really what I want for overachieving professional women is for you to take those skills and have it affect your entire life. I learned in my work of losing 60 pounds as a busy woman doctor with young kids and unpredictable schedule that I had to learn certain skills and mindsets that helped me overcome real friction points. And that work actually changed who I was. It helped me up level my identity. And that has trickled into other parts of my life, which is one of my favorite things about this entire series. Part 1, we talked about the all or nothing mindset and how you can double your weight loss results this season simply by understanding how to let go of all or nothing thinking. Part 2 talked about the when then mindset, how overachievers are sometimes waiting for convenience to take consistent action when really having any goal means you're disrupting your status quo, which means choosing the inconvenient thing. Last week's episode talked about prioritizing yourself. Overachievers, especially, are really, really good at taking care of everyone and everything else first. We have some guilt at the idea of prioritizing ourselves, and that's the reason that a lot of our goals start to get deprioritized. This week is talking about a totally different concept that I have been personally thinking about recently, and that is choosing to do the really hard thing first. Now, typically, as an overachiever, one of the things that I really love to do is cross things off of my to-do list. I don't know if you guys can relate, but I definitely got a quick hit of dopamine every single time I would cross something off my list or give myself a little checkbox in my planner. But these would usually be small, simple tasks that didn't require any brain effort. It didn't require me overcoming a friction point or an obstacle. It didn't require me to make a hard decision or execute on something that felt challenging. I would try to get quick hits of dopamine by crossing off really tiny tasks like emptying out my email inbox or checking my messages. Now, while it's important to do these tasks, what I also realized over the course of many years, because I love these checkboxes, is it was taking me out of actually focusing on the hard thing. I call this procrasto-working, and overachievers are really, really good at it. Rather than focusing on the challenging project or decision that is pushing you to a growth edge, overachievers will distract themselves with other quote unquote productive work, like cleaning out your email inbox, calling the dentist or the doctor to make the next appointment, planning your next vacation. These might be tasks that you know you want to get done, but it is actually a procrastination tactic to get you out of doing the challenging thing. For me personally, what I started to notice as I caught this as a pattern that I was in, even though some of these tasks were small and they didn't require a lot of brain power, by the time I got through doing a lot of those things, I didn't have the energy and bandwidth required for me to face the challenging decision or project. My battery needed charging again. And this is the real reason that overachievers can get stuck on big projects or big decisions. Here's the mindset concept that this episode is all about. Stop chasing cheap dopamine with cheap tasks. Now, again, I know that some of these tasks might be important, but before you allow yourself to focus on those tasks that require very little brain power, very little energy, and very little effort, do the hard thing first. Get the big thing out of the way that you have been avoiding. What is the decision that you have been keeping on a shelf? What's the research that you needed to do to make the decision? What's the project or the assignment that you have been putting off? Give yourself the gift of doing this first when you have the most focus, the most energy, and your brain is the most rested. Here is the magical side effect when you do the hard thing first and you leave the smaller tasks for later. Number one, you will 100% of the time get so much more done. Not only will you make headway on the challenging task that you have been avoiding, since your brain doesn't require a lot of energy, bandwidth, or effort to do some of those smaller tasks, you'll actually get more done in less time. But the real juice is the pride you feel when you do the hard thing. This is something that no amount of money can buy. When you face a challenging task, project, decision, or assignment and you face it head on, building your discomfort tolerance to do the task even when it's challenging, the way you feel on the other side is next level. Doing the hard thing, especially when it was inconvenient, especially when it felt out of your comfort zone, especially when you didn't feel like it, is going to create so much pride. And I'm telling you, the way you will feel head to toe when you do that is going to be like lighter fluid for the rest of your day. Here's a personal example for me and how I notice this coming up and why I wanted to make an entire episode on this. In times past, I used to focus on trying to get through a lot of my email inbox, my messages, my charts, a lot of pendings that took very little brain power, but felt like nuisances on my calendar. I used to tell myself when I'm done with these tasks, that's when I'll go to the gym. When I can free my brain from this running to-do list and this running task list, then I will go to the gym. But inevitably what would happen is I would start getting through the task list and then more would get added on. And then even more would get added on. And then I would start to get overwhelmed at how much I had to do. And then by the end of multiple hours, the last thing that I wanted to do was to go to the gym. This wasn't a lack of discipline. It was because I had misprioritized my goal and I was chasing cheap dopamine. One of the biggest things that I flipped around was I started going to the gym first thing in the morning. Now, I didn't used to be a morning person. In fact, I'm someone that used to pull the all-nighters, stay up really late, have my me time, scrolling Instagram and social media and watching my Netflix. But I realized that staying up late with me time, with snacking or scrolling, left me more fatigued, left me more tired, and always sabotaged how I felt on and off the scale. Instead, I decided to challenge myself. I started sleeping earlier so that I could hit the gym first thing in the morning. Now, here's the thing. I did not want to go to the gym the first thing in the morning. If you've been following the podcast for a while, you know that I was never someone that loved going to the gym. That was never who I was. However, I also realized that my health goals and my body goals were on the other side of me going to the gym. This is coming back to parts 1, 2, and 3 of the series. I knew that this goal that I had for myself, which is feeling my strongest, protecting my vitality, building muscle, having more energy for myself in the long haul, meant that I had to disrupt my status quo. I had to choose the inconvenient thing for me to experience this result. But this episode is all about doing the hardest thing first. Going to the gym at the butt crack of dawn when I didn't feel like it felt so hard. Every single time, and I don't mean 99% of the time, I mean 100% of the time, that I went to the gym and I lifted the weights and I got my sweat on and I had a good session, I 100% of the time felt better. At the end of the session, not only did my body experience the happy endorphins that come from going to the gym, I felt this feeling of pride. It wasn't just about clocking an hour on the treadmill or an hour lifting weights. It was the self-respect that I was giving myself by prioritizing this and doing the hard thing. Here's the side benefit that I did not anticipate and why I want this for you too. That feeling of self-respect, that feeling of pride about doing the hard thing and taking care of myself first trickled into the entire rest of the day. I noticed that I was so much more focused in my work activities. I was so much more present with my kids. I was able to be more efficient in the rest of my day because I had that feeling of self-respect and pride as my fuel for the entire day. Here's the caveat with this concept. Don't expect your mood of the moment to want to do the hard thing. Anticipate that your brain is going to have some thoughts about doing the challenging task, the hard assignment, going to the gym. You pick your flavor of what the hard thing is that you're avoiding and expect and anticipate your brain is going to have thoughts about it. Coming back to the last few episodes, your brain does not want to change the status quo. Achieving your goal means choosing the inconvenient thing, which means there's going to be a moment that your brain is like, oh, we don't really feel like doing this. Maybe we start tomorrow. Maybe we do it next time. Give yourself the gift of feeling that discomfort and doing the hard thing anyway. What starts to happen is you don't ever need to blindly believe in yourself ever again or have just positive thoughts because you start to create evidence that you can actually do hard things. Overachievers are often spending a lot of their best hours, their best energy, and their best bandwidth on doing a lot of tasks that don't require the best parts of your brain, rather than using that best part of your day where you're the most focused and the most energized on tackling the challenging project. The truth is, tackling a mile-long task list that doesn't take a lot of brain power, energy, or a lot of thinking does take a lot of effort. But if you do the challenging thing first, the part on your calendar that maybe you're avoiding, that you don't always feel like doing, if you knock that out first, the way that you will come into that mile-long task list will be totally different. I want you to give this one a try, and if you do, I want you to report back. I know without a shadow of a doubt how much overachievers love a good plan and you love a good strategy. And we talk about that so much here on the podcast. But my mission for you to achieve your next health goal, body goal, career goal is to see the power of mindset. There are certain thoughts that are creating a barrier for you. And I want to help you see what they are and then, of course, shift them into something that's going to move you forward. And if you are loving the podcast and the concepts and frameworks you love here, I want to encourage you to join my email list. I share exclusive content with my email list. So if you're enjoying this podcast, I want to make sure that you get on there. You can join my list over at burnstressloseweight.com/email. You can expect me in your email inbox quite a bit. I hope you guys have an amazing week, that you really give this one a try, because this is one that is going to feel like lighter fluid for you to achieve your next goal. I'll see you next week, my friends.